Green Lantern Annual 2021 issue 1.
Just an overview. This is my kind of Green Lantern book, even though it doesn't really feature a Green Lantern. It's more about Jess as a Sinestro Corps or a Yellow, whatever we're calling them now.
Does it matter? The colors are relevant.
Yeah, but like this is the kind of stuff that I look forward to in a Green Lantern book that I am not getting in the Thorn book. So this scratched that itch, and I got to see Jess again. So that's always a benefit.
No, I'm never mad at seeing Jess. I did kind of like, so, Jess comes to New Beauregard after she just got the ring, and you know what? I'm going to say good job on remembering the story that set up her getting that ring, but I'm also going to critique it slightly in that I remember enjoying that small story and that special well enough, but not enough that I remembered the ending.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm gonna be real.
Because even when someone told me that the Yellow Lantern from that other issue was Jess, and then I was like, oh, they're going to explain a lot of it in this annual that's coming up. I didn't remember that we had a short story that ended with her getting a yellow ring. I did not remember that at all.
I'm gonna be honest. I completely forgot about that story, and I know I read it because it was in. You said it was in the 80th, right?
I don't know if it was that. It was in something like that. Yeah.
Ah, shoot. Okay.
It was a short story, but it was like a Die Hard thing where Jess was crawling around with no powers, and there was like yellow lanterns.
Yeah. I remember this now.
Yeah. So and she references it a few times here, which is nice. Now I liked their back and forth. I liked Sinestro effectively try to recruit her a little bit, sort of test her, see what she's like. Try to explain the power of fear and how it can be used, and how it's not just about scaring people, and there's more to it than that, and so on and so on.
And I like that he compares it to control versus empathy, because everybody can feel fear, right? Not everybody knows willpower, and as she would know, right? Because that's been her life, and she had to overcome the fear for the control. But here is like, well, you're fit for this because you can share that empathy of fear, and it doesn't have to be a force for bad. And I really like that. So the writer of this is Ryan Cady.
Yeah, Ryan Cady and Tom Derenick on art, just to mention that.
And Sammy Bassery did the majority of the art. Derenick did pages 24 through 36, but at a certain point, it all kind of they complement each other very well. Like you don't get that.
I think this idea of like fear isn't necessarily an evil thing. Of course, it makes sense. Like that should always be a possible. I mean, this is a world.
Batman.
It's a world with Batman in it. Like we have to accept the possibility that fear is a useful tool.
And the Sinestro Corps War, right? Batman got a yellow ring, and he overfought it, right? And it, kept it bottled up, and he ended up not going to New Beauregard or wherever they were going. Quard. They were going to Quard. That's where his base was. Anyways, yeah, I like that a lot, and I like that for Jess too, because it really sets her apart from the other Lanterns, which that's why we've always liked her. She's always been since we've had her in since Rebirth. She has kind of been the Lantern that stands out above everyone else. And I'd say this as a Guy Gardner fan. There's not too many big Guy Gardner moments in the last couple years, right?
Last 20.
Yeah, it's like that far. He was great in Green Lantern Corps during that was not 20 years ago. I was just doing the math. Wait. He's saying that era, the Johns era, it's not 20 years old yet. So anyways. But no, yeah, and I like
so it's over a decade though. Just
yes, definitely over a decade.
Throwing that out there. Yeah, so I think that this issue would have been better if it hadn't been an annual sized issue. I think the length actually hurts it, because I think this could have been a perfect 20-page book and it would have worked. Ultimately it boils down to Jess talks to Sinestro, he tries to recruit her. She says, no, I just want to go home. And he's like, well, there's no ships available, so you can take the yellow ring to go home. And then, from there, it's up to you. And she's on her way home. She almost gets back to Earth, but there's a ship that's in distress. And she tries to intervene to help, of course. She's trying to save people on the ship. And she's recognizing the fear of the pilot and all that stuff. Yeah. I'll get into the details in a minute, but ultimately Hal Jordan shows up, who's one of the two people that we know of who has a working Green Lantern ring, because this is different from everyone else's.
Him and Joe.
He intervenes. I'll be honest, he's kind of a dick. Like, the way he immediately like just reacts to Jessica is kind of bullshit. He should
know, out of anybody, this man's worn just about every color of ring, and he should know that that's not necessarily of Plus, during Venditti's run, they worked with the yellows, so there's not like a fight on sight corollary anymore.
He does this thing where when she mentions that she dropped off like the other Sinestro lanterns back at New Corrigar, he's like, "Oh, you stopped off there for a job interview." Like, why are you being a dick?
Also, when he got drafted into the Green Lantern Corps, he should know. Sometimes the rings just takes you to the home base. Like, yeah, this is my main problem with this issue, is the voice for Hal is completely off. Especially a Hal that's been seasoned as a leader since at least Rebirth, right? We're going to take it back that far. None of that rang true.
Yeah, Hal's just an asshole here. There is a neat little twist where, the captain of this ship that Jess starts talking to, she senses that he's very afraid, and it might even be dangerous for him to keep making decisions, because it'll basically, all the mercenaries on the ship are getting anxious, and if the leadership's not there to kind of rein them in, they might do something stupid, and it'll just create a bigger disaster. So she kind of relieves him of his duty, and the second in command takes over. But then the sort of little twist is that part of the reason why he was scared is that the second command was actually working with mercenaries to like take over the ship, and there was kind of a double cross thing happening in the first place. But all of this is a bit more complex and lasts a bit longer than it needs to be, because there's a whole confrontation with Jess in the ship, and then Hal shows up. They have an extended like conversation, and then it goes back to dealing with the ship again. It's all just a little bit too drawn out, and I really feel like this being boiled down to a more streamlined 20 pages would have helped it a lot. And and as we said, Hal's voice is just too much of an asshole. And I know he can be a dick at times. I'm not saying it's completely out of character.
No, but and I get it, but someone that he knows that shared a sector with him, he should know that if she's showing up in a yellow lantern suit, and that none of the other greens are working because the power battery's dead, he shouldn't be like, shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, maybe her having a yellow ring right now is a good thing, given that there's no green rings going about.
Exactly.
Maybe she can help go and save all the other Green Lanterns. Jess tells Hal to stay at Earth and protect Earth. So, Jess is obviously going to be a factor in the main book going forward. I like that she is going to be a main factor.
Yep.
But yeah, so she goes back, accepts being a Yellow Lantern. She's going to be working with Melissa Drac, and so they've got kind of we may even get some awkward buddy cop style stories with them. Yeah. But she does say that she's not going to say the oath. She's still charging her ring, but she's not saying the Sinestro core oath, which is an interesting thing.
I do like.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I mean, this is okay. This is okay, but it was over long. Hal's voice was a bit iffy. I felt the length and thought, sure. So.
I enjoyed it nonetheless, though. Like, it wasn't a read that, when I started it, we got to a little bit of a late start because I had to finish this. Because I could have just been like, I'm not going to finish it. But I was enjoying it so much that I. But no, I liked it. I liked the Just story. I liked it. The whole Sinestro. I love when he's not a mustache twirling villain. So I like that when he actually has his principles. And that's him here. Point out that he senses the greatness in Jess, and that, whatever this reformed Sinestro Corps is going to be, that she's almost like the beacon of it, because she even says, he tells the story that fear, or not the story, gives her kind of a pep talk of let fear be the beacon, and that's where the whole one candle at a time at the end comes from. And I like that. It fits the version of Sinestro that I like, that we kind of backtracked on when he started running around with Lex with in Justice League, where he got the ultraviolet ring and whatnot, but so this kind of principled anti-hero Sinestro, I'm happy to see again.
Yeah, and I don't suspect Jess is. This is not a permanent change. She'll be a Green Lantern again at some point, but
Yeah.
I do like her realizing, I can do some good with this, especially in this time of crisis, especially right now where the lanterns that do exist who don't have rings right now need all the help they can get. So
Mhm.
her being able to show up and actually have some power is probably a really good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was okay. It was okay. What are you rating them at?
7.5.
Yeah, I'll probably go like a 6.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say no, it wasn't bad, but I just I felt it. I felt the annualness of it, even though I love Jess and I love getting more stories about her. But Green Lantern Annual 2021 issue 1.